This is Monday, May 5th, 2024. It is 7:30 Eastern Time. And my name is Mary Hunt, and I work at the Water Office, and we are the sponsors of this water meditation. This is the fifth meditation that we have offered in the year 2024. And we are delighted to have with us Corbin Hannah, who will lead us tonight on the theme, to be whole. To be whole, something to which I think most of us aspire. Let me extend a special welcome to those for whom it is their first time with us on meditation. There are some of us who, I'm looking at Virginia Day and Brad and Cynthia Tootle and others, uh, Bernadette, others who are here virtually every month. And for those who are new to us, a special welcome to you and a very warm welcome to a number of Corbin's Providence community friends to whom I send my own special greetings. Last month in this session, Lillian Lewis, who was one of the first people to get a master, one of the first women to get a master's from Marquette University, spoke about the theme Roadkill, the Blessing. It was a memorable evening, so much so that I, over this month, have been thinking of that little boy, those who were there. Do you remember the little boy she described expressing concern for the dead animals and the advice that came to slow down so drivers would kill fewer and fewer animals? It was powerful. And I trust those who were here received some thanks to Lillian. And the notes included a link to her book, which she has so graciously made available to all of us for a download. The note can be found with the video on our website at waterwomensalliance.org. You'll find this as edifying as I did, I think, and again, with warm thanks to our dear Lillian. I want to introduce as well my colleagues who are with us tonight. Diane New, who's out on the deck. She happens to be part of the Providence, waving her St. Mary of the Woods ring for those who are Providence people, waving her ring shamelessly. And Lisa, who is our intern from Germany. She's from Nuremberg, and she's with us for the year through the Irene program, which is a peace program in Germany, as well as the Church of the Brethren Voluntary Service Program, which we're delighted to have her join us through. And it's kind of a special day today at Water because one of our other interns, whom some of you know and who actually will be doing next month's meditation, Pamela Miller, graduated today from Wesley Theological Seminary. And the three of us, Diane and Lisa and I, were there to cheer her on at the National Cathedral. It was quite an incredible place, and it's so wonderful to see women like Pamela finishing the MDiv and moving on into ministry. She's a United Methodist, and this was a great day of rejoicing for the United Methodists, having, as it were, regularized their situation in the world by changing their book of discipline to remove negative references to LGBTIQ plus people and to make their church safe and welcoming for lots of folks. And that has been a project of over 50 years of people that I know. And so the joy and the pride and the excitement that people from that denomination, the price they've paid, but the joy and excitement that was part of that work ending up last weekend and was manifest today in this Wesley Seminary graduation, Wesley being a Methodist school. So I share that with you as a really something exciting for Water. And also one of our other interns that some of you may remember, Tashika Rhodes, will be getting her DMin, her doctorate in ministry, on Friday at Howard University Divinity School. And some of you remember Clara Francie Cromer, who has been with us for a number of years, both as an intern initially through this Wesley program. It's a kind of practicum program, and they come to Water because we're such a we're the kind of placement that I think many of them will move into. And Claire Francie will be getting her DMin in 2 years, so she was there today, sizing up the situation and really leading the pack. So it's very really a day of great pride for us at Water that our students are doing so well. Let me move on to a land acknowledgement. We at Water are on the indigenous land in Silver Spring, Maryland, that is the traditional and the contemporary land of the Piscataway and Anacostan peoples. We acknowledge the trauma and the injustice toward indigenous people that is deep in U.S. culture and history. We join in efforts to eradicate it and make reparations for the genocide involved. Water's work is aimed to bring about social justice. So I invite you, just as we begin, to consider the native people on whose land you sit. Please feel free to put the names of their groups in the chat if you wish, as another way that we can pay homage to them and express our thanks and deepen our commitment to changing the situations of imperialism. Thank you. Let me explain how we operate in this hour, and then I will turn it over to our speaker. Our presenter offers something brief, and we always have a different presenter so that we have a wide variety of inputs for our meditation. And the person speaks usually 7 to 8 minutes to spark our contemplation with some idea of their own. Then we turn to 22 minutes in silence together, and we'll give more instruction about that. But it's enough time to get into a meditative state, and then we open the floor for conversation with further instructions to be given then, of course. There are many styles of meditation, and you know best at this point what gets you into a contemplative space. Whether it's breathing, whether it's a word or phrase as a mantra, do whatever works well for you. The key in this situation is that we're doing it together. What Nancy Sylvester, who pioneered this approach, calls communal contemplation and dialogue. And the communal piece of it is key. We could all be meditating on our own tonight, but being together adds something very, very important. And it also conditions the dialogue that follows. So again, a hearty welcome, and please mute your audio until it's time to move into the meditation. I'm very happy to welcome Corbin Hannah, who uses they, them pronouns, to our meditation circle tonight. They are a sister of Providence of St. Mary of the Woods in Terre Haute, Indiana. That's the community I mentioned earlier, of which Diane New, our co-director, was a longtime member, and of which she is now a Providence associate. So we have lots of devotion to the founder, St. Mother Theodore Guerin, in our office. Corbin tells me that they are a social worker by training. Corbin has spent the last 3.5 years cultivating resistance, these are their words, and allowing healing from a traumatic brain injury. They have recently begun to offer their gifts and skills through writing, guided meditations, and retreat experiences. Corbin will earn a certification in spiritual guidance or spiritual direction in January of 2025. They tell me that they love to play in the kitchen and in the garden. They also enjoy hiking and camping and tending to their forest of houseplants. Corbin is passionate about creating a world where all can thrive, and again in their words, where everyone remembers their innate loveliness. Welcome, Corbin, for your first and I hope not your last water meditation. We are in your capable hands and very glad to be with you tonight.
Thank you, Mary, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome from wherever you are coming from, and just a pleasure to be here with you today. So as we begin, I just invite you to join with me in taking just a few long, slow breaths, just going at the pace that is just right for your body. Taking this moment of breathing to drop into our bodies and hearts so that we can receive whatever message is for us today. And you may do this by bringing awareness to your belly or your heart, maybe doing a quick body scan, or whatever other way you connect with all your felt senses. May you experience and feel the message as you hear it. My dear friends, may we spend the next hour remembering that we are whole. You are whole. Now, I know this might be hard to hear or believe, especially when we are very aware of all that we think is wrong within ourselves, or we look around and see so much hatred and violence, a world that seems to be overflowing with chaos. With all of this happening, how can we be whole when everything seems so broken? After a serious injury, when this body and mind seemed to be breaking down, and the messages I had received when I was younger kept telling me that I was weak and worthless, I felt utterly broken. Unable to turn away from the pain, I eventually chose to turn toward it. And I became more aware of the thoughts and messages and experiences that seemed to all be saying that I was broken. In facing the thoughts and messages, I realized that they simply were not true, but they were pointing me to a much deeper truth, to my truest self that is whole, connected, and beautiful, to this deepest self that wants to live life to the fullest in every situation. The compassionate, expansive self I was discovering showed me how to hold all the parts of me that were struggling. And so I invite you to take a moment and see if you can tap into a sense of wholeness. Connect to and allow a feeling of wholeness to fill your mind, your body, and your heart. What would it feel like to connect to a deep knowing that you are whole? Or, in other words, complete, abundant, full, at home. If you could feel it, what would wholeness feel like? What would it feel like to be complete, abundant, full, or at home? What if everything has purpose? What if everything belongs to a much larger whole? See if you can feel into this truest whole self. Staying connected to this awareness, I want you to connect now with the experience of separation and brokenness. Our fractured vision keeping us from seeing our wholeness, our natural tendencies to focus on the negative and be critical of ourselves and others, our habits of ignoring or repressing what we don't like within ourselves that keeps us from feeling our wholeness. Where do you feel this in your body? And can you feel it while staying connected also to a sense of wholeness? What does the pain of feeling broken and separate feel like? And what message may it have for you? What if the pain comes from the parts of us who are afraid, shamed, and rejected, who are crying out to come home, to be seen, accepted, and loved? For me, to be whole is to include all aspects of myself, knowing that each part belongs. How does your wholeness relate to your experience of brokenness? So, if on one level, in one dimension, we are all whole, connected to a much bigger one, intrinsically interconnected, how then do we live from our wholeness? What would it take for us to weave our lives, our world back together, to remember our wholeness? Who is the chaos inviting us to be? What is it challenging us to do? And how can we place our reality into a much larger whole, one that we may not be able to yet see, so that we can approach it from a place of centeredness, groundedness, and love and compassion in our whole expansive selves? What would it be like to live from within our wholeness?
Thank you very much, Corbin, for these reflections and these very provocative questions that we take with us now into our period of contemplation. So I will ring the gong. We will put up a very lovely illustration that Corbin has so kindly shared with us, to be whole. And ringing in our ears are at least two questions. What would it take to weave our world, ourselves back together? And what would it be like to live within our wholeness? How do we weave it back together? And what would it be like to live there? With thanks to Corbin, we now begin our period of meditation. Feel free to stop your video if you want, and of course, keep your audio muted. Thank you. Welcome back from what I hope was a very fruitful time of meditation for each and every one of you. I begin this part of our time together with an extra thanks to Corbin for the rich input as well as the provocative questions. What would it take to weave ourselves and our world back together? And what would it be like to live in this wholeness? And thank you for providing that brilliant piece that we were able to use for our meditation.